20 years ago, an African named Roger Miller celebrated a goal in a way no one else ever had before, by dancing.
After that, goal celebrations went mad.
Take me higher, celebration, it surrounds us, every nation, all around us, sing forever young, singing songs underneath the sun, let's rejoice in the beautiful game, and together at the end of the day, we all say, when I get older, I will be stronger, they'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag, so wave your flag, now wave your flag, now wave your, when I get older.
So, 20 years later, let's give it up for Roger, the man who showed the world how to celebrate.
Now wave your flag, now wave your flag, now wave your, oh.
After seeing this commercial, you would find it hard to believe that its purpose is to sell a sugary soft drink known as Coca-Cola. This iconic brand has managed to stay relevant since it was founded over 120 years ago by scientist John Pemberton. Today, I'm going to be going over some of Coca-Cola's most genius marketing strategies that led this mega corporation to gaining a monopoly over its market, especially in its early days before its competitor, Pepsi, took a sizable percentage of the market away from Coke. Now let's compare that first commercial we saw to one of Coca-Cola's earlier commercials.
Only Coke will do when you're thirstiest. Coca-Cola refreshes you best.
Coca-Cola refreshes you best.
As we can see, the older commercial is focusing more on the drink itself and how it's refreshing and tasty, whereas the newer one has little to do with Coca-Cola at all. This is a perfect example of how Coca-Cola markets its drink. With Coca-Cola, it's not just about selling a soda. There's something more. It's about selling happiness. It's about selling brotherly love, as we see here.
Oh, brother, I will hear you call if the sky comes falling down for you. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
Or it's about unity and equality.
Sing with me. Perfect harmony. Perfect harmony. I like to ride the world with Coke and keep it company.
This last commercial is one of Coca-Cola's most famous. It aired in 1971 and features people of all different races, nationalities, and skin colors. This was very progressive for its time, and it really pushes the idea that Coke is a drink for the people, which if you haven't caught on yet is extremely good for business. Let's move away from the commercials and ads for a second and focus on some other actions Coca-Cola took to help increase their popularity and prevalence in the soft drink market. One of Coca-Cola's plans early on was to set themselves apart from competitors. This is when the iconic Coca-Cola bottle was made. This contoured bottle design let you know that you were getting the real product. It was kind of like a seal of authenticity. This was one of Coca-Cola's key design and marketing strategies, which allowed it to become one of the most recognizable brands. So recognizable that 94% of the Earth's population recognizes the Coca-Cola logo. More people recognize the logo than the cross that represents Christianity. To talk about the Cola Wars, let's flash back to the 80s. During this time, Pepsi, with their new slogan, "The Look of a New Generation," starts to dominate the market. And for the first time in history, Coca-Cola is no longer the better-selling drink. During 1985, in a desperate attempt to win back some of the market, and for the first time in 49 years, Coca-Cola decides to change its recipe, and New Coke was born. Now you're probably thinking, they release New Coke, they win back the market, and they live happily ever after. But that didn't happen. New Coke proved to be an absolute failure amongst consumers, and less than 3 months later, Coca-Cola switched back to their original recipe under the name Coca-Cola Classic. There is a silver lining to all of this. Even when Coca-Cola makes a so-called mistake, they still find a way to profit from it. Once the recipe was changed back, people were excited that they could finally enjoy the drink they know and love. so much so that Coca-Cola sales surpassed Pepsi's once again. Now, whether this was some genius marketing tactic or just dumb luck, we will never know. Let's stop talking about the past and look to the present. What is Coca-Cola doing now to stay on top? When you have a company that has actually created the modern image of Santa, who knows what they'll come up with next? And yes, in 1931, Coca-Cola launched ads featuring the jolly red and white Santa that we know today. Before then, depictions of Santa looked like this. So how does Coca-Cola keep up in a modern-day marketplace? Well, despite having a large online following like many other corporations these days, now more than ever, Coca-Cola still finds new ways to market its product. Some of the company's most creative attempts have been in recent years. This shows that Coca-Cola can still stir up interest in their product. An example of this is the Share a Coke. Now, this wasn't just some commercial or celebrity endorsement. This time, it was built right into the can itself. This was the Share a Can. It was a can that could split into two, which was perfect for sharing. It's a pretty simple yet effective way of portraying Coca-Cola's values of friendship and sharing. What better way to hit home with customers than to personally connect with them using their name? Well, that's exactly what Coke chose to do.
Last September, in the dead of night, the world's most iconic brand did the unthinkable and took an entire country by surprise. 150 of Australia's most popular names appeared on millions of bottles of Coke. Why? Because in the previous month alone, 50% of teens and young adults hadn't even tasted a Coke. We had to reconnect with Australia. So we decided to get personal. The internet blew up straight away, but we kept quiet. And while the buzz grew and grew, we recruited our fans and made them the face of our campaign. Then, on Australia's highest rated media weekend, we came clean and invited Australians all over to share a Coke.
Introducing the Share a Coke campaign, another extremely successful marketing attempt made by Coca-Cola. The only other time a customer had this type of personal connection to a product was with these cheap souvenirs. But for a company as large as Coca-Cola to acknowledge your name and print it out on a bottle is truly something. The Share a Coke campaign originally launched in Australia and soon spread to the rest of the world with much success. With everyone posting pictures of Coke bottles with their name on it, Coca-Cola got free publicity, which was an intended side effect with this campaign. And who doesn't love some free publicity? Now, what effect can all this marketing have? Well, the country with the highest Coca-Cola consumption per capita is Mexico, with the average person drinking 150 liters per year. If you think that's crazy, in the southernmost state of Chiapas, Mexico, they are 5 times higher than the national average.
In fact, people in Chiapas drink more Coke per capita than any country in the entire world. Can you believe that?
¿Cuántas de estas te tomas al día?
Hay 3 litros.
¿3 litros?
3 liters en un día. Wow. What is it?
It goes down really well with your food.
According to a 2019 study by the Chiapas Research Center, Coke drinkers in this state enjoy an average of 821 liters per person per year. That is equivalent to 2.2 liters per person per day. For comparison, Americans drink 3% of that amount on average.
Either these people have been brainwashed with all this marketing, or they really love their Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has come a long way since John Pemberton created the drink as a cure to morphine addiction. Sure, just replace your morphine addiction with a cocaine addiction. At least his heart was in the right place. But through all the competitors, through all the ads, commercials, and marketing tactics, Coca-Cola managed to stay on top for over 100 years. They established themselves as one of the most iconic, well-known brands in human history. And to that, I raise a glass. a glass of happiness.